Nationals, Coach Eric Simons and Team Manager Mr. TA Sekar. You know the drill. Please fire away with your questions. Who does?
Eric, one of the questions that surround the IPL teams coming to a tournament like this is that they probably don't have a lot of time together beforehand, and they assemble perhaps in a bit of an unscheduled fashion. Will that affect your preparations at all?
It certainly is an advantage for the teams that are playing a full domestic coming straight together, like Auckland have had 10 days or whatever. It certainly does help. We've had some of the youngsters here. Obviously, internationals have been very busy with the World Cup, T20 World Cup. But it's part and parcel of what we have to face. And well, it is an advantage to them. I don't think it'll be a major issue. The guys know each other well enough, and the IPL tournament is a long tournament, so we do build up a decent understanding of each other. Eric,
in the IPL, the standout factor of Delhi Daredevils was the pace attack, and which was found out during the semi-finals, where the wickets were conducive to spin bowling. Do you think that will be an advantage for the team here?
Our conditions will certainly suit our attack. There's no doubt that will help from that perspective. But I said at the start of the IPL, watch our spinners play an important role, and I think they did. We had two young spinners bowl really well in those conditions, and I think that we had good plans and ideas for them, and it did work. So I don't think we're one-dimensional, but certainly we do come here feeling that the conditions are going to help the attack that we do have.
Eric, Moran Mokal blossomed at the last IPL and really seemed to come into his own. What type of work did you do with him, or was it a mindset switch, or how did he end up as he ended up?
I think it's it's important in a tournament like the IPL. We don't have an enormous amount of time to keep things as simple. I know it's one of those jargons you probably hate in press conferences, but it is about keeping things simple, having a plan. I think it's important to have a plan that works for a bowler rather than focus too much on the batsman. And you need to understand your bowler, and I think that's what between us we did well, was we understood Morna, and we made sure we played and worked in his strengths. And then when you get momentum in a tournament like that, you play every second, every third day, and you get momentum. So it was great to see him bowl like that and see him be such an important part of the team, and obviously we hope it continues.
Following up to that question, do you think it was more to do with the kind of length that he bowled during the IPL? He bowled quite fuller as compared to earlier tournaments. Or was that the main change that he brought about?
I think that was crucial. It was important, but it was also just the way that he used his variations. I think he became more and more confident in his variations. There were a few other things we'd like to see him use more, but I think length was important. And I think you've seen him grow as an international cricketer, not just in the IPL, through the past season or two, just in terms of the length that he has bowled. Because he's a tall guy, so to hit the wicket, it's difficult for him. And if you're not hitting wickets, you take a lot of options out of your armoury. So I think he's grown as a player, not just in the IPL, but he carried that through. He had a great series against New Zealand coming to the tournament. So I think he's growing year by year.
Eric, just the situation with Kevin Peterson, is he going to be available? Is he joining you guys soon? What's up with him?
Maybe shake a shake.
I think it's reaching tonight from Dubai. He's already in Dubai, and he's available for us.
Okay. Just on his, he's had obviously a difficult time recently and so on. His sort of frame of mind, is it something you feel you'll be discussing with him beforehand, or how does one handle a guy like that?
Yeah, cricket is again, it's one of those things we talk about such a lot, but it is about a mind game. It is about your confidence as a person, and I think that Kevin Peterson's strength is the person he is. If he wasn't the person he is, and he wasn't the confident person he is, would he be the cricketer that he is? He was a crucial part of our team in the IPL, and people would have seen the runs that he scored and the fielding and what have you. But what you don't see is what he contributes off the field to our side. And he's a big part of that in our team, and so it's great to have him here for the whole tournament. But I don't think he's a person that again, the same as the bowler, you need to understand your players, and it's managing all those various cultures, personalities, attitudes, and then combining to have one objective. And if you do that, you've got a team that's playing well together.
Do you think, Eric, the fact that in the Delhi Daredevils dressing room you've got some personalities who at least as big as Kevin Peterson's, probably helps and keeps him in check, whereas in the England dressing room maybe he doesn't have that.
I don't think you need to keep Kevin Peterson in check. I think as long as all your players are focused on one objective and that they can, whatever they do is objective, and I think that's what we did really well in that IPL, is that people will either be who they are, but at the same time understand that there's one objective, and that's the team objective, and I think that we did achieve that. So I think we had a tremendous vibe and attitude and culture, but I think Kevin Peterson was read in many times in situations.
Mr. Sekar, just a quick one. What's the update on Virendra Sehwag? I mean,
Because I had spoken, I have not seen Sehwag, but going by the reports from my physio who had spoken to the Indian team physio, I think it's only a minor sprain. So he's taking rehab and he'll be fit for the first game.
he'll be okay.
Eric, Mahela Jawagna stepped down as Sri Lankan captain last night, but obviously he'll be leading your side. Can you tell us what he brings as a captain and maybe what mindset you expect him to be? Obviously very disappointed after last night.
One of the privileges of this job has been to work with Mahela Jawagna. He's just one of the most amazing people, forget the cricketer that he is. And he's an incredible professional, so I know that you'll come here disappointed from what's happened, but I've absolutely no doubt that he'll arrive here focused and ready to lead our side and going forward. It must have been very tough for him, obviously. They, particularly having started that match, played as well as they did the whole tournament, then starting that final so well. But I expect nothing less than for Mahela to arrive here, having put that behind him and ready to take the team forward in the tournament.
Just on that, I mean, with this tournament, like basically starting soon after the one in Sri Lanka and so on, is it going to be a bit of a thing to get some of your players up for it? I mean, especially with India not sort of also having done that well, and as you say, a guy like Mahela now also could maybe be on a bit of a low.
I think again, it's something that international cricketers face, and as a management team, we talk about managing the energy of the team, and that is important. Understanding that you've got youngsters arriving, you're very excited, they haven't played for a while. You've got other guys arriving here that have been playing a lot of cricket, and you've got to find that blend and find the right mix, just in terms of the way we prepare the team, from our team conversations to our team meetings to our practices, and it's important that we do that correctly. So. That's part of our job, is making sure that we manage each individual and make sure that they arrive at the match in the best possible frame of mind and that they can possibly be. And sometimes that's the toughest part is the person rather than the technique.
Eric, Virendra Sehwag was the captain of the team in the IPL. Now Mahela Jawagna will take over. There are two different personalities, two different captains, different style of captaincy. How do you, like as a coach, and how do the players adjust to the different styles?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of similarities. They're both very calm. There's no big noises and screaming and shouting. They both have very clear thoughts about the way they do it. I think if the communication is clear and what they want from not only us as coaches but also from the captain, if the players understand what's expected of them, then I think it's reasonably easy to move from one to the other. But it's just amazing the way the world of cricket has changed. You come here and you see an Andrew McDonald, and you're used to him playing at a certain team, he's now playing other teams. So players have had to learn to adjust and move around. But I don't think there's much of an issue. I think Mahela was an important part of our team as well. He played a very senior role. He was part of our management meetings and our decision-making processes. So I think it's a pretty seamless move from one to the other.
Adding to that, last year Mahela led 2 matches when Viru fell sick.
Right.
So people know exactly, because he was a vice captain of the IPL season, and so it doesn't take much time to step up.
There's so little margin for error and so on. They almost, Christopher Morris from the Lions the other day said he's sometimes been more tired after 2020 match than after a 4-day match and so on. And how do you as a coach sort of see this or experience the whole 2020 format?
Yeah, it's an incredibly emotionally draining. It lasts only 2.5 hours or whatever it is, but it is an emotionally draining time. And like I said, part of what our job is managing the team and the energy of the team, and particularly in a tournament that runs as quickly as the IPL does. And you're travelling and playing so much. I do think that the T20 game is still evolving. I think people are still learning to play it. I still think that their teams are going to find the right formula, and they're going to start getting to the consistency which is required from the top teams at any level. But it's a very exciting format to be a part of because it is so live, and I always talk about there's no rules in terms of the shots that are played, in terms of the ideas and thinking. You really have to think outside the box and yet at the same time make sure that you're sticking to the basic principles of the game, because you can't let those go.
Eric, in South African conditions, what's going to be more important in terms of winning the tournament, having a very powerful batting lineup or a very powerful bowling attack?
I do think we're going to find different conditions. I was coming from Cape Town, it's freezing cold there, it's been really wet. I think the Cobras have played a game there, they played a ball there. And so it's going to be tough in terms of what the conditions are like there. And certainly batting could be tough on the coast, Durban probably in between. Centurion's always a good batting wicket. So it's always going to be a good blend, but what we do talk about is the difference, for example, if you're playing in subcontinent conditions to playing here, and how important it is to have wickets in hand and those kind of things. So you have to have a balanced team in T20, you have to have your rounders, but I think it probably is an area where the bowlers will have a little more say than perhaps in other T20 competitions, particularly.